Hey my friends, welcome back to the show where we are using art as a vehicle of education, inspiration, an opportunity to discover a bit more of who we truly are on that authentic level so we can start doing ourselves, right? Being ourselves and expressing ourselves. Today's topic is shadow work. Shadow work refers to the psychological and spiritual practice of exploring and integrating the hidden or unconscious aspects of oneself. It involves bringing awareness to the parts of our personality that we typically ignore, deny, or repress. And all these aspects, often referred as the shadow, refer to our traumas, fears, desires, and other suppressed emotions. The concept behind shadow work was created by great psychologist Carl Jung, who said that the shadow is the person you'd rather not be. But we may all find out that if we don't acknowledge who we'd rather not be, if we don't open the wounds who caused us to be in pain, to be ashamed, to be traumatized, to be in a need to suppress the uncomfortable sensations, that part of us will start controlling our behaviors because we don't want to experience similar hurt or hurts in the future. And therefore we close ourselves down and we say no to our true authentic selves, because if we speak our truth, if we bring out to the light who we truly are, we may get hurt once again. Therefore, shadow work can help us to heal those protective mechanisms and allow us to be who we came here to be. And that is so beautiful, because people who don't feel good about themselves, the only way for them to feel a bit better is to develop a certain sense of love for power, right? We can find this pattern all around us. We can find it on social media. You want to feel powerful, you start manipulating others. We can find it everywhere, right? When people want to feel powerful and therefore they will do anything for it. So people develop a love for power. But when we start acknowledging what is causing us to feel that way, to behave that way, we start loving those wounded parts of us, that wounded inner child. So we go from love for power to the power of love, and we develop a certain amount or degree of self-compassion, self-kindness. So we start healing what needs to be healed so we can thrive as unique individuals here on this beautiful planet. So this is the concept behind the shadow work. And how can we do it? Well, there are so many different ways to do the shadow work, to dig deeper or dive deeper into what is holding you back, what is not allowing you to be who you came here to be. Carl Jung also said, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. So we are becoming more conscious of what is holding us back. A great question is to ask ourselves, what makes us special? What makes me special? What makes me unique? And it may bring you back to your childhood, like the moments where you were thriving as a unique individual, unique, kid. You were not aware of fears, of shame, of guilt. You were just doing yourself, your thing. You were doing whatever brought you a wonderful sense of awe, of joy, of blissfulness, or even ecstasy, right? So discovering once again what makes you special brings us to our authenticity. But then recognizing the shadow that is holding our authenticity back can be revealed by asking ourselves what makes us afraid of or blocked, so we don't want to express that part of us. And we may come to fears like, I'm afraid of what people will say about me, I'm afraid to fail, I'm afraid of success, I feel unworthy, I feel not good enough, and so on. We find all those different answers. But then shadow work is finding the core of those answers. Why I don't feel enough? Why I don't feel loved? Why you are afraid of success, right? And again, it brings us to our childhood. Through deep introspection or through deep reflection, it brings us back to our childhood, where we notice the source of why we believe that we are that way. We recognize that maybe in our childhood, our parents told us that only when we behave this certain way, they will like us, they will accept us, right? Maybe you've heard that, or you received a hug or a kiss from your mother only when you did those certain things, or when you made her laugh, right? And you've developed that concept of people pleasing. Like, you always want to make people laugh because otherwise you don't feel loved, right? It all comes to our childhood. And understanding those patterns help us to free ourselves from repeating behaviors that are maybe toxic for us. Sometimes we do something that we actually don't want to do, but because we don't know why we're doing it, we keep doing it, even though it doesn't bring us any satisfaction, any sense of self-love or happiness. So through deep reflection, we may find what makes us be how we are right now. So ask yourself what makes you special. Ask yourself what are those natural gifts that maybe the world told you that you can't do anything with them, that you're not educated enough, that you're not smart enough, that you're not good enough. But before you've heard all of that, you've been doing those things because you had no limitations on you, right? You need to know what makes you special if you want to become special. And we're all special here. Each of us is special individual, special soul, special being here with a purpose to share your specialness with others, right? And more you start doing what makes you special, more you wash away your unspecialty, right? So what I said yesterday, we become who we are practicing to be. And when it comes to shadow work, we acknowledge what is not allowing us to do those things. Let's go into an example. For example, in your school, you've been bullied because at some point something happened and you've expressed your authentic voice. You've expressed your authentic voice, you said something, and then there was the cool guy or the cool girl who started laughing at you. And it's always like that. The cool guy, all kids know who's the cool one, and they all want to be accepted by the cool one. So when the cool one starts laughing at you, all that group of kids started laughing at you as well. And you've been exposed by that collective laughter, and therefore you've developed a great sense of shame. You've been so ashamed of yourself that you said to yourself back at the time that you will never, ever, ever again express your voice, your truth, because you don't want to experience that same amount of shame. Are you familiar with that? It happened to me in the past, and most probably most of us have been through something similar. But what we don't know is that we've created a full story. Science is saying that our brain creates a story out of what we think to be true based by how we feel at the moment we've experienced something. So you can imagine how much you truly knew about what happened back at that time as you were that little kid. Now you're wiser, you're more acknowledged. If you would go back into your past and visit that younger you would be able to explain to yourself that group of people, the group of kids that was laughing at you because they wanted to belong to the friendship circle of the cool one. And we always had someone that was the cool one, right? But the cool one started laughing at you, most probably because when at his home he was expressing himself, somebody else, maybe his brother, his sister, his father, his mother, was laughing at him, right? So he developed a sense of insecurity that he's not enough. So when he felt powerful or more powerful than you, and you've expressed your true self, he started laughing at you. So he started projecting his insecurities onto you so he would feel better about himself. And then that group of kids wanted to belong to him because he was the cool one and everybody wanted to be with the cool one. All those kids left with that cool guy. And now you're a victim of that process. So that story is true because hurt people hurt people. And every time we're hurt, at some point we find a new victim to project our insecurities onto the weaker person until we recognize that it's a pattern that requires healing. And to heal a pattern can only be done through discovering and understanding what is causing it. Because a pattern is an effect of an unknown cause until we discover the cause through reflection of our behaviors. That's why the shadow work requires a deep reflection on how we are expressing ourselves, how we are talking, how we are thinking, what kind of beliefs we have, how we are communicating with our friends, with our family members. What are our social skills? What is our body language? In all those different patterns, we can find our wounds. We can find what is making us do those things. For example, if you have a not so good relationship with your father, and let's say your father is still alive, every time you talk with your father, you will feel a sense of tension. And if you want to be authentic, you would ask yourself what wisdom would do in this situation, and what wisdom would do would express how you feel about him, right? Wisdom would always express how you feel, not how you think about that person, but how you feel about that person, because it's all about feeling. We experience life through sensing it. That's why sensitivity is so important when it comes to shadow work. People who have been hurt, they often close themselves from awareness of their senses and they become senseless. And that's the answer why there's so much hurt and pain on the world, because most people are senseless because they've closed their awareness around their senses so they would not feel pain. But the point is that the only way to be more conscious, to ascend on the conscious level and to awaken ourselves to the greater degree is to free the pain through awareness of what is causing it, right? And the truth is that if we ignore something, it doesn't go away. The truth is that if we suppress something, it doesn't go away. If we suppress any kind of emotion, it doesn't go away. It just gets stronger until the pain becomes unbearable. And usually it manifests in all kinds of different ways. Like science now is saying, suppressed anger most often manifests in cancer and similar diseases. So we need to become aware of what is causing us feeling the way we feel. And deep reflection is important on that process. So if you set some time aside for yourself, reflecting every single day why you've done what you've done, why you've been lazy at those moments, why you've been triggered when somebody said something to you, why you feel sad right now, And if it feels hard to do on your own, find somebody who can help you. Find a coach, find a therapist, find a mentor, find a master, find someone who can help you to move yourself through the process. So you recognize that there's nothing wrong with you. You've just developed a certain story that became your identity, that is reawakening emotions that are holding you in a certain box, that is not allowing you to be your true, real, authentic self. And there are so many ways to deal with that. For example, if we want to change our future, we need to change our past. And you may be wondering, well, how to change my past? Well, the past is nothing else but a story connected to emotional sensations that have been experienced at the events that created memories. So to change our past means that we develop a greater understanding of our past, right? As I mentioned before about this situation in school, when you've been bullied, if you've been bullied or whatever happened, and you've recognized that actually that guy that was laughing at you was just projecting his insecurities onto you because he was hurt in his family circle because of family's dysfunction, right? What's the term in psychology? And if we now go into a different event, let's say you know you're a talented artist. I will be talking from my perspective now. You know you're a talented artist, but you've stopped working on your craft long time ago because your parents said to you that you can't make a living out of art. That's happened to me when I was a little kid. When I was a little kid, I was drawing all the time. I was a really creative kid. I was drawing everything, and it was so natural to me. Like I had no need to study or to learn to draw or to do anything creatively. It was completely natural. I was born with that. So as a little kid, I was drawing all the time. But then at some point, I remembered my mother said to me that at some point I will need to pick a certain education because art is not a form that will allow me to make a living. So I will need to adapt to something else and use art just as a hobby. And it shocked me, like, why the world works like that? And of course, because of that, I've developed a certain amount of hate for school. I didn't like school because I said, well, I can't be who I came here to be. So I never liked school. I've never liked education because of that. All I liked was art classes and sport classes. And that's all I wanted to do. So later in life, when I've started becoming an athlete, I became an athlete. I was a good athlete. I was in extreme sports. I still had a sense that something is missing. So I never felt enough because of that. I felt that a part of me was suppressed and I don't know why. I don't know what. I don't know how to find a cure for it. Until at some point I've decided, well, I want to quit my job. I want to quit everything I'm doing and I want to find more of myself. So me and Maya decided to go to travel. I've shared that story with you. But what happened as soon as I've quitted my job and suddenly I had so much time for myself, suddenly I was independent because I had money. I've saved a lot of money. I was independent. I had time to rediscover my inner child. What happened immediately after I had time for myself, I started drawing once again. And back at that time, I was already reading a lot of books about self-help and spirituality and ancient teachings and psychology, psychiatry. I was getting into all those different subjects because I was searching for answers. But what I found out is that maybe what I've heard to be true is not true. Because maybe people who told me how life works don't know better, right? So I've started questioning everything, even my own talents, even my own gifts. And it brought me to a realization that maybe if I invest enough time into something, I can make something I truly want to see out of it. And because I was studying the law of attraction and the power of manifestation, I said, well, I will write down the life I want to live. I will script down the future I want to live. And I've started doing that. I've started writing down the life I want to live. And it brought me to where I am right now. The story is more complex, but you see, the shadow part here is that in my childhood, I was told that you can't make a living out of doing your art. And I'm doing it today. I'm making a living out of doing my art. But I needed to recognize that I was told that in my childhood. And that was the reason why never after that I felt enough. Never after that I felt completely satisfied. And never after that I was able to fully love myself. Now I completely love myself because I'm doing what I love. I know that what I'm doing is coming from love. It's coming from within me. And therefore I am love. I've embodied love. And whatever I do, it comes from that inspiration of love. That's why I'm able to do what I'm doing, because I've healed my wound from the past. It's not complicated. We just need to discover what caused us to be who we are today, so we can go back into that memory and change it. Find the deeper truth of it. Is it truly not possible to make a living out of whatever I want to do? Let's study people who are doing it. Whatever it is. Some people have been raped. Some people have experienced a divorce of their parents, and they may think that it's because of them. They feel unworthy. They feel that because they were not good enough, their parents separated, right? But it's not a real story. You need to go back into that story and question it until you find a deeper truth. That's why it's so important to find someone who can help you guide yourself through that process. All the triggers that you have, everything that is triggering you, is a result of a certain wound, is a result of a certain trauma that happened to you. When you're around sad people, you want to avoid the sad people because they awaken the same sadness that they feel within yourself. That's why you say those are toxic people. Those are not toxic people, those are hurt people. And as long as you're hurt, you will be avoiding hurt people because you have healing to do. It's nothing wrong with that. It's completely okay. You need to go through your own process. But the only way to heal this world is to heal ourselves, so we can start embodying healthier patterns, healthier behaviors, healthier beliefs. We can start using healthier words and expressing that higher energy of love, of understanding, of compassion, of acceptance. I accept you. Hey man, I accept you. I know you've been through a lot. And it's nothing to be ashamed of. We've all been through a lot. You need to find a safe circle where you feel accepted, where you feel appreciated for who you truly are. If you are in a circle of people who don't appreciate and value your authentic self, it's time for you to find a new one, or at least go on your solo journey and work on your shadow work. Find a therapist, find someone who will guide you through that process, or do it on your own. I did it on my own because I immediately found out what was the problem, but it took me years. I know that a mentor or someone can help you to go through it much, much faster. But I like a natural way because I know that slower pace can help us to see more, right? If we go to travel and we move slowly, we will see more beauty, we will see more details. So I said to myself, well, if I will move slowly through that process, I will see more details of what is causing me to be in that certain cocoon, right? So I can free myself like a butterfly. That's why I'm sharing today with you the painting of the phoenix, which is a symbol of rebirth, rediscovery. A part of you needs to die, so the true self can be born once again. And that is all as a byproduct of the shadow work. Do more of what makes you special, so you can wash away unspecialty about yourself. And my friends, I hope you found something valuable here today. Like Oscar Wilde said, I want to remind you these wise words: be yourself, because everyone else is already taken. But it's much harder than it sounds, but at the same time, it's completely okay. Believe in yourself and know that there's always a deeper answer. To any question that you have, there's a deeper answer to it. There's an answer. On your subconscious level, you have answers for everything. And that's why some people call the subconscious mind the superconscious mind. Because when you start setting deep questions to yourself, your life will start aligning into the direction that will bring you to wanting answers. That's why you need to start questioning yourself. Who are you? What caused you to be like that? Why it's so hard for you to do those things? What is causing you to express that way? And let go of those limiting beliefs, because they are false. Limiting beliefs are just products of repetitive stories or repetitive thoughts we've heard from our surroundings, but it's not necessary that they are true, right? You don't know what's true until you experience a greater degree of life that comes from deeper essence, right? When you experience something wonderful, you start to believe that more wonderful things exist. But if all you know is your own limitation, then you will never be open for something new. So be willing to reflect on your triggers, to reflect on your shame, to reflect on your suppressed emotions, to reflect on your anger, and find out what is causing it. Find out what is making you feel that way, what kind of belief is making you feel that way, and question it. Constantly keep questioning it until you find deeper answers. It's a long process, but it will take you far, right? It will take you on a whole new journey. So my friend, I hope you found something valuable today. I'm sending you lots of love, blessings, and power. I hope you found today's painting inspiring. If yes, you can find prints of my art in our Etsy shop, I Draw My Passion. The link is in the description of this video. Go and check it out. Until next time, stay beautiful, stay magnificent, and remember that you're not alone in this process. We're all in this together. So my friend, one love.